Okay, so I've got some more Apex Predator stuff for you. This is the F-104S TAF. It's a premium rank 7 battle rating 10.7 premium fighter for Italy. I figured since the matchmaking was so favorable for the premium J35 that this is kind of just like by default what I should play next since I was enjoying it. And despite this being a starfighter, I still had a pretty decent time in it. And that's pretty much solely because of the matchmaker. 10.7 gets a lot of down tiers right now, and just like that J35 video, I kept track of exactly how many I got. Although this time I had a lot larger of a sample size because I figured maybe I could have just got lucky last time. But it turns out 10.7 is just really nice right now. I'll get into the tally of the matchmaker in a little bit, but for now let's talk about the starfighter. This one specifically is, well, it's a starfighter. You go extremely fast. You do not turn well. Dogfighting is something you are just not going to be doing. You are straight up just going to fly really fast, maybe shoot a missile or two off at some people, and then fly away and repeat. I almost feel that I'm forced to play really passively with this plane, and typically not really my play style, but I guess it's a bit more of a relaxed way of playing. Although I know 100% if I was on the receiving end of somebody playing like this in the starfighter, I would get extremely annoyed, so I kind of feel like an asshole playing like this, but I mean, it's a starfighter. I know, what else are you really gonna do? I feel it's pretty difficult to rack up high kill games in this plane. I think I got like a couple 5s and a couple 6s, but that's about it. And I played this plane like a lot, at least quite a bit more than I normally would for a jet of this battle rating. Real quick, I want to kind of compare this to the J35 XS, which I just recently played, because it's kind of fresh in my mind, and I don't know, I guess while I was playing this, I was sort of comparing how I had to play and how easy it was to do certain things. That sentence didn't make much sense, but let's say, for example, it's 1v2, you're in your starfighter, and there's 2 A10s left on the other team, which, by the way, you're going to see a lot of A10s. It's kind of like this sea of A10s all over again, like when they were just added. You guys all know this, but the A10s are slow, but they can actually maneuver pretty well. And you're a starfighter, you're fast, and you cannot maneuver well. Obviously, you don't want to have a bunch of AIM-9Ls fired at you, so you're going to be making passes on them, hoping they will just make a mistake and kind of end up in front of your guns or your missiles. But, I mean, if they're watching you, you know they're not going to die to a missile because they have a just insane amount of flares. Now say you're in that J35, that thing can pull a lot of AOA, it can move its nose around pretty much wherever it wants to go. It was much easier in the J35 to actually get shots off on these A10s, but in the starfighter it's very, very difficult. But that doesn't just go for A10s, obviously. There's a lot of things that are more maneuverable than you. Pretty much anything that's not a starfighter is going to be able to turn a lot better than you. If it's just you versus an F5C, he's not going to be able to kill you, but it's also going to be extremely difficult for you to kill him. I'll be honest, this plane does test my patience a little bit. I've literally won and lost on tickets because I'd just be dealing with one guy for like 10 minutes. That did happen a couple times, and that's relatively annoying, but it's not too bad, I guess. I mean, I've played a lot of games in this. I guess now I should probably talk about the loadouts you can carry with this plane. You have the option to carry 6 AIM-9Js or 4 AIM-9Js and 2 AIM-7Es, but with no Vulcan. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say you can't go wrong with either loadout, but I should tell you kind of how I did it. In a full down tier all the way to 9.7, I would carry the AIM-7Es on my first takeoff. I honestly found the AIM-7Es to be pretty reliable on the full down tier games. Unlike top tier, in a full down tier 9.7, not everybody has an RWR, and the people that do may not quite know exactly what to do against a radar missile. This is great if you're playing this plane because the AIM-7Es are relatively good. If they have time to actually start tracking, they can do some work. However, if the match I'm in draws out longer than normal, I will RTB because I'll probably either need fuel or I would have shot off all my missiles already, and I'll pick up the 6 9Js and the Vulcan loadout. That way, if I do run into somebody that does know what they're doing and can avoid being shot by AIM-9Js, I will have a Vulcan to back that up, but even then, it is difficult. It is a starfighter. Turning is not your forte. But all that's just for a full down tier. In a full up tier, I don't even bother with the AIM-7Es. I just take the 6 9Js and the Vulcan. Now, I've been talking about down tiers and up tiers for a minute now, but you guys are probably wondering how many of each I get. Well, I'm going to show you something. I kept tally of every single game I played in this plane. With a 40 game sample size, I had 27 games that were a max battle rating of 10.7, aka a full down tier. I only had one game where the maximum battle rating was 11.0, but that very much could have been an 11.3 game because there could have been somebody on the other team who had an 11.3 plane. It's possible I just didn't notice, and this could be grouped in with 11.3, not like it matters that much. And then there were 12 out of those 40 games that were 11.3, and then 11.7, not a single game. I did not get a single single game with a full up tier out of those 40 games to 11.7, so I did not see one MiG-29 and I did not see one F-16. And I don't know about y'all, but if this thing got up tiers to 11.3 like 75% of the time, I probably would have never touched this plane again. Anyway, just like the J-35, I don't think this thing is worth anywhere near $70. You could buy a talisman for something else. Hell, there's the F-104S in the tech tree, which I'm pretty sure is like the same thing. So in my eyes, it would be a much better decision to get a talisman for that, which is like so much cheaper than spending $70 on a single airplane. I'm not going to give you any post-match commentary today because frankly, I think commentating over a plane like this would be both boring for me and the viewer. So instead, I'll just say I racked up 100 kills in this plane and then stopped playing it. Will I revisit it? Probably at some point, but I don't know when. To be honest, I'd rather play that J-35 that I just made a video on because honestly, it was a bit more fun in my opinion. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. Hope you guys had a nice Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Peace.